Welcome to the Best Ball Boardroom, where we turn ideas into million-dollar teams. I'm Justin Herzig, chairman of the board. At each boardroom meeting, we'll be convening with a couple of my board of directors, some of the smartest experts in the industry. During each boardroom, we're going to go to the drawing board. We're going to come up with innovative solutions. We'll peel back the onion on profitable draft strategies. We'll drill down into win-win scenarios. We'll think outside the box. We'll be proactive. We'll identify synergies. We'll raise the bar. We'll improve the bottom line. And if all else fails, we'll take it offline and we'll circle back next week. Whew. Let's start off. Let's get a few things straight as we jump into these boardrooms meetings. They are mission critical. The board is responsible for assessing the market on who to buy, who to sell. We're going to build well-balanced portfolios. We'll keep an eye on our shares, our player exposures. Mergers and acquisitions division is always looking out for potential blockbuster trades or free agent signings, and we'll employ a variety of corporate strategies to accomplish our aggressive goals. And with titans of the industry sitting on this board, we're not going to settle for anything less than a profitable year and taking down $3 million grand prize. With that, it's time to get down to business. First order, the two members of the board we have with us today have had more best ball success than anyone in the world. Over $3 million in the collective best ball winnings, and only two other people in the world that know what it feels like to take down a best ball Mania tournament. Murphy Pat Kerrane, welcome to the stream.
Thanks, Justin.
Man, I wish I brought my cigar. I could have leaned back for the board meeting. I'm pumped up. Let's go.
I do like the irony of us joining the board. Liam and I, who are both solo operators out on our own, couldn't be any less corporate these days.
I don't even have a company, man. It's just me ripping streams.
It is funny you bring that up because in preparation for this, I used our old trusty friend AI. I asked ChatGPT, can you help me out in roasting and providing some jokes to add some color to this stream? So this might be the perfect time. We should maybe just start things off and we can see, what does ChatGPT got jokes? So,
oh man, this pick.
I mean,
I love this boardroom pick.
You're not helping the best ball reputation here, Justin. We go to AI to get our jokes. That's we're nerd enough, man. Come on.
I mean, so I'm going to start off. Today, we're talking about best ball strategy, and I can already tell that Liam and Pat have different approaches. Liam is more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of a guy, while Pat is more of a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks kind of guy. But hey, both approaches can work, just like both a suit and a Hawaiian shirt can be appropriate for a boardroom. It's all about your personal style. I must say, other than mixing up Liam and Pat there, spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it's an observation. I don't know if I'd call it a joke.
Rough joke for the intro here.
Liam,
is this the lead off?
Liam, I'm gonna let you take this next one. Go for it.
A little peek behind the curtain. Anyone watching this, we were not told of this fire segment. Anyways, I'm excited to see what kind of team we can build today. But let's hope it's better than some of the projects these guys worked on in their previous careers. I don't think anyone wants to see NBC's Best Ball Show or Liam's chess lessons for cats hit the airwaves anytime soon.
Wow. Shots at NBC. I did not expect that.
First off, chess lesson for cats would be fire. Sorry.
All right, here we go. Let me try my hand. Liam used to coach chess online, which is kind of like being a fantasy football analyst, but with less glamour and more pocket protectors. But don't worry, Liam. We won't judge you too harshly for your nerd credentials. That's just mean.
I think nerd credentials in this industry are actually like a boost. Yeah. Like that's a legit credential. All right, Liam, we'll go one more back to you.
I'm honored to be in the same room as two fantasy football experts today. And by experts, I mean guys who got lucky in a tournament once. But hey, that's still more than most of us can say.
That's actually pretty good. And I
used to get that a lot. I used to get that a lot.
Justin might have just wrote that one. I think Justin wrote that.
These are all ChatGPT. I have screenshots. I can prove it. I got the receipts. We'll finish all. I got this one. I'm feeling good about today's draft. After all, 3 heads are better than 1. Unless, of course, those 3 heads are Liam, Pat, and me. Then we're in trouble.
All right. I will say ChatGPT is learning quickly. The AI advancement is you can tell just from looking at these jokes how quickly.
Justin, you should have had us. You should have hit us up and said, write a joke or two, and then we could have had the segment ChatGPT or Pat
like
Liam.
this.
That would have been fun for the
last
comment
two. I
section
think
to
would
vote
have
on.
fooled people. They fooled me.
Liam,
Yeah,
I think
I mean-
that's why Liam is in the content game. Next time we're on your stream, Liam, we're going Justin or GPT. Let's go.
The
All right,
line is
jokes aside,
blending there.
That was hilarious. I got to look at the comments. Everyone, welcome to the stream. This is going to be a blast. Jokes aside, like legit cannot be happier to have these two joining me for this kickoff stream. It's going to be an awesome summer. And to see what's happened, the progression for the industry over the past couple of years from and I've already joked, like when I won it, I'm like the Doyle Brunson in the 1960s of poker. Like I was playing the World Series of Poker with like 10 of my friends. Like then it's like, oh, okay, now guys actually start winning and they have to actually start beating a couple 100,000 people. There was overlay in my contest when I won. I think like in day 2 of this BBM, we were already at like more full than the first BBM. So it's been amazing to see. And you guys have been, partly faces of this industry over the past couple of years and, Pat more recently. But just give me the overall thoughts on what's going on with this space and what to expect for the summer.
I mean, it's exploding. Like it's, you've got Best Ball Mania drops, then all these other tournaments come out. We still don't even have the NFL schedule yet, and we've got a puppy. We got a puppy already. So I mean, if it's
Pat, I hate to cut you off, but I think Justin's pulling a fast one on us real quick here. We're gonna have the whole equity discussion.
That's so true, dude.
Jumps in, right?
Let's go.
Don't think I didn't notice that.
Let's do it.
Justin's like, let me fire up some questions and drafts here. Who owns it? Who knows?
We have some hard stops. We got some deadline. There's some meetings we need to attend after this, some other Zoom calls. So I had to get it going. But no, Pat, keep it going. Then yes, and then we'll go back to you and we'll continue the pre-show conversation that is much needed.
All right, we will have the pre-show equity conversation. But I mean, I don't know. That was kind of my whole point. The puppy, the million tournaments. DraftKings already got a couple tournaments going. Drafters is going. It's like
another one today.
There's really no, I mean, other than just like the fact that it's in the 70s right now in New York, that's about the only reason I can come up with not to be just constantly drafting.
And the schedule hasn't come out yet.
Yeah,
even
and
that, the puppy's filling pretty fast, and some of these tournaments you don't even have to think about the schedule quite as much. Like in the DraftKings really big final one, I'm a little bit. I mean, obviously, I'd like to have the schedule, but it's not, I don't think, as critical just because there's going to be more randomness in that final.
Makes sense.
And I want to say that Pat was a face of the best ball industry before me, obviously. Man's put in his time. He was on the ship chasing, which had quite a bit of fundamental episodes that year of BBM2, I would say. And, I think it's hard to realize when you're in a growing industry like best ball that, like, things are changing and it's so early. I don't know. I feel like 1 year contests are probably going to eat overlay. They're just going to like overestimate the gap, and that could be like a generational opportunity. But at the same time, I feel like we're so new. I feel like more and more casual ESPN bros are going to get into best ball. Best ball is going to get harder, no question about it. And we are so early. Like, yeah, I know we like to say that, but it's just like crazy to think about.
Yeah. All right. Light moves on because it's a new computer rig. Hadn't actually drafted. This is my first BBM draft of the year. So that's why that was on that. Don't worry.
That's some serious. That's some
This is your first
restraint.
BBM4 draft?
It is. It is.
Wow.
Well, partly because over those first 3 or 4 days, I was out of the country, so I couldn't draft. So I do think there was legit edge, obviously, in that first day or two. But then once I missed out on that, I was more of like, hey, I'm just going to probably wait till the schedule comes out or make it the stream. We have the 12th pick. We are coming up on the turn here. I have ETR rankings in. So, Pat, do not worry. You do not have to just agree with whatever's the top of ADP like you've been doing on the ship chasing show.
Yeah,
Liam, don't worry. There's more than just bills available. What are we thinking here?
Well, I want to know how much equity I have before I make
How many jokes did you get ChatGPT to write for you? Do you have some ones? Is there a doctor looking at behind the scenes?
We are done with that. That is a segment. It is a bit. We are over. Now we're talking about, we'll get into the equity. Glad they put us in 12 so we have more time to discuss in the turn. But
I'm with any of the top 4. I'm also okay with reaching for Pollard if we think.
I like
think
Lamb.
A Lamb Pollard combination. Interesting. Rare.
So just to be clear, Liam is basically sabotaging the draft, not because he doesn't know how much equity he has, right? Trying to grab Pollard.
That's what I want to know.
You're the one who keeps procrastinating on the equity discussion.
For those who don't know, let's
what are we doing
the groundwork of this.
I'm fine.
I don't mind. We're getting into it.
Let's go.
I don't mind the Pollard.
Let's go Sun God or Pollard.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, we're going wide receiver on brand. Started at the top of the draft.
Just to lay this joke for anyone confused.
Let's go.
Last year, I had some guess on, and yeah, I should have probably just floated them the equity of the best ball manias, but I'm in the gambling space. I'm used to you would purchase equity if you want equity of the team, just to make sure.
Just as a reminder, Liam had just won $1 million.
Yeah, there's a minor aside, but just to have the line clearly drawn in the sand, so that if you win the contest, Justin offered people a pizza party on an island, right? Justin, what did you offer?
No, hold up. Okay. My other, company on the moment, we were planning on doing this big Vegas thing for Summer League, for World Series of Poker. And so the whole idea was what? If I actually win with this, we're going to put some like 100K into it, make it a huge ass party, and invite all the people who are on the streams.
What's that half of? Is that half of 2 million, or is that no?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would much rather be able to purchase the equity in the team versus have a pizza party.
I think anyone would.
But I'm the one who catches on the flack where people are like, "Oh, send the 1250." No one's ever like, "How's the dominoes, Justin?"
So Liam and I both realized that neither of our strategies was optimal.
No.
And so we decided for this year, we wanted to have the conversation here, even though I literally have won 10, maybe 15% of 20% of what Pat has made. Probably 30% of what Liam's made. I'm definitely the best ball pour here, but I think this is the good congregation to come together to decide what is the best process for streams. I did at least get these out of the Dan Zach bet because of you people trying to do Tony Pollard in the second. I'm trying to keep these stream friendly. We know how
that can win.
Sorry. I was 4% advance rate last year compared to, I think it was 24% outside of streams. All that said, what do you guys think?
I think you should either, for me, if it's puppy and below, I'm floating it. If it's best ball mania, you either float the equity or you offer your guest a chance to purchase it, because yes, it's a lottery ticket. So it's you should just float it. But I don't know if $3 million gets chopped up and I don't know, Pat, what do you think?
I think you're right. And I think you should lean towards just floating us the equity. But that's, is that someone who wants to get floated the equity.
As someone that was a guest often, but never on the opposite end.
Well, I'll be streaming this offseason as well on the Legendary Upside YouTube channel. And I'll be floating the equity there. So that's what I'll be doing.
It should be floated probably. But it makes me want
people's time is, a commodity in its own right. So that's
sure.
To pull the curtain back further, none of us are paying each other to do these podcast appearances. So float the equity.
I think that's completely fair.
But did maybe a guest learn something streaming with someone and that's payment in its own right?
Wow, dude.
I don't know. I mean, a guest
just hearing me was a payment.
A guest or two winning $2 million maybe happened on the channel last year. Who knows? No, I don't know. I think it could be anything. What's your decision, Justin?
So, I think the initial intent is it's not so much about the 1250. It's, hey, you only have 150 of these. If I'm doing 30, 40 streams a year, I'm getting rid of 25% of my streams or such. And I think that was my initial kind of thought process on this. But nah, screw it. I agree. I think hey, you are getting rid of a certain amount, but I'm not going to collect the 1250. It's just going to be, hey, we're going halvesies or thirdsies on it. And
you did just put your Venmo in the private chat. Is that?
My hands are up. My hands are.
Oh man, yeah, I'll be floating this year, but I'm also probably gonna just do more like rando streams. But I don't know.
What happens if you have someone like Davis on who's not actually 18 yet? And like, I don't know, there's a legality issue.
No,
Well,
Davis doesn't have a stake. That's illegal.
And here's what I would say: do not send anyone min cash dollars, which I did do that last year.
Interesting.
I did do that last year. I sent everyone their min cash. I noticed that I did guest streams on other channels, and guess what? Didn't get any min cashes for my playoff teams.
That's a good point, Liam. We can discuss that further. We are on the board, in the boardroom, board of directors. We have 2 wide receivers. We have wide receivers at the top of the board. Kenneth Walker's been falling. I don't think we like him, though.
No.
Are we just stealing apart on wide receivers? What are we thinking?
I'd like grabbing a couple of extra wide receivers here.
Christian Kirk has been on every single winning best ball team of mine. Amari Cooper's been on 2 of the 3. Way ahead of ADP here. But,
okay, I'm taking Amari. Oh.
I'm good with Mike Williams, too.
I like Mike. I like Gibbs for the little mini correlation if you want to bet on Detroit.
I don't hate Gibbs here because of that. And I do think Gibbs has like substantial upside.
I'd be okay with
it. I just think we need to approach it like he's not going to do a ton early in the season. So we'll probably need to like do like a 0 running back type of build and hammer running backs through the 9 through 12 range. But I don't mind going with Gibbs.
Okay, let's do it. Get a little correlation there. Liam, have you been trying to at least like project what week 17 is?
I've been doing a lot of division stacks, and I'm pretty familiar with what divisions play other divisions, just trying to luck into some week 17 stuff. I think that, yes, ideally I have the schedule, but you can totally draft without the schedule here. I know not everyone agrees on that because I think it's an individual year-by-year thing where you're going to get such crazy ADP values sometimes on the years. I think like at the beginning of this year, that was especially happening. And, you know, a game stack, quote unquote, can be as simple as like having a quarterback and 2 pass catchers from the same team. And your game stack in that simulation is just that team beats the shit out of whoever they play.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
And that could be like Joe Burrow throws a shitload on a team. Sounds likely. Don't even need to bring back. Vapor, I will not be having
25 and under is floating.
That's how I would do it. Yeah. Once you get to big stuff, then we start splitting.
I agree.
For sure. And also, I don't think I would. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Also, I agree with Liam's thing. We're floating finals. I'm not going through. If something's in the semifinals,
it's just a lot of legwork. Like, that's what I had to do. I sent a lot of people Venmos, and I'd like ask people, and I got no Venmos back. So
no, it's a final sweat. We're floating the final sweat.
That's what I think.
That's the industry standard. That just decided. We've decided that's industry standard now.
I think this is a nice good forum to kind of set this boundaries, given some of our personal past and experiences, and being the ham of the joke. I don't know. I was trying to go with a pizza topping there, but couldn't land. ChatGPT wasn't able to help me out in real time there.
Yeah, you got to upgrade the model.
Confirmed that Justin is through his jokes.
Don't we have more segments? I think we have. Let me see. Where is that? Yeah, we can do the buy, sell later. Okay. We've got corporate ethics. We've got mergers and acquisitions. We got a lot to go. Don't worry.
Mergers and acquisitions. Interesting.
Yeah, that's actually your bit, Pat.
Is it?
What was your prep for the show?
I thought that question was impossible to answer. I'm really happy I didn't get that question because I would have a much worse answer than the question you asked me.
Liam, you've got an easy one. Yours is part of the buy-sell segment.
Give me some cost on play. Give me some rounds, though, because that's a really like. So how about you give me some parameters?
Okay, parameter. Cannot be a Buffalo Bill. Go.
Okay, one player. So the question for me is, who is one player you are buying at their current ADP, and who is one player you're selling? And just to let people know, I think it's easier in general to hit fades.
For sure.
Why? Because there's multiple outs to a fade, right? For example, I faded Derrick Henry. This is something that ETR, listening to Levitan, helps really hammer this home. Levitan used to be big on betting the unders. I think that's changed a little bit, he said recently, on NFL draft props because, players get injured, etc. So, I faded Derrick Henry hard a couple of years. Part of the out is the dude's going to get injured and has so much usage. But one player I'm fading at their ADP, I'm just not so sure on it right now, is Wan'Dale Robinson. And I think that's an ambiguous room with the Giants. It's Wan'Dale in the slot. It's Jalen Hyatt in the slot. It's Paris Campbell in the slot. It's Jamison Crowder in the slot. It's Darren Waller playing slot. I think the market is pretty wrong on these rankings, and because I think Hodgins and Slayton are the favorites to play outside. Not to mention Sterling Shepard could be in the slot too. So I think it's like really bad.
Paris Campbell's
signal.
there as well. I think Jamison Crowder's there as well.
Yeah, mention those guys. But I think it's really bad signal that they're signing all these slots. Will come back to me. I love Hollywood. I'm okay with Mike Evans too. How you been? Because isn't this just the Amari Cooper lesson from last year?
What do you mean?
Probably.
Meaning that Amari Cooper was faded because Jacoby Brissett was his quarterback and then did really great stuff.
All right, we got 5 seconds.
I'd go Evans of these guys, I think.
Choose any of the running backs and then
choose. Well, all right.
All right. Okay.
We got
tried to get Evans up there. Do you still want Evans? I think another wide receiver makes sense here, and I'm good with Evans.
I like Evans. I like Pierce over Dobbins, I think. Where are you guys on that? I know that's too late, but
Silva loves Pierce. I think Dobbins has a bit more of a higher projection standpoint. I think just with that offense, with I don't know, new scheme and stuff. God, I'm blanking on name right now. Money Monken right now. With Monken going in there, I do think it opens up a bit more.
That is interesting.
Well, a good friend of mine said that aren't the Ravens going to be this year's Eagles? And that quote of my good friend Pat Kerrane keeps on ringing around my head. Aren't they this year's Eagles? And if they are, is J.K.
They feel
Dobbins
a little Eaglesy, don't they?
Not just Miles Sanders. And I do like Dameon Pierce from a workload usage point, and the offense has got to be better, right? Like it just flat out like significantly better. But I don't know. I would mix on those two. I would note that some websites really have Pierce like mispriced, like way cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, as Evan Silva is extremely high in Dameon Pierce. He was trying to convince us that you should be drafting Dameon Pierce ahead of Breece Hall right now. They got a little pushback from the spreadsheet socialist in our Slack channel.
I would get some pushback from my spreadsheets as well.
But I mean, just as a directional standpoint, like very high on Pierce. I think the challenge with the Eagles comparison from a running back perspective is like the Eagles have zero desire to have like a actual workhorse, and like they're very content with using that 3 running back backfield. So I think that limited kind of Sanders' value. But if you're talking from an upside standpoint, with Sanders coming off of the 0 touchdown season to what he did last year, I mean, yeah, I think J.K. Dobbins could have a substantial amount of touchdowns, even though you still have Lamar there.
Yeah, I'm talking about offensive explosion, like taking that step, and like Dobbins is Miles Sanders with like probably less competition to your point, where he's competing with who knows on the ground, you know?
So if you're selling the Giants wide receivers, specifically Wan'Dale, or probably the highest ADP guys, which is Wan'Dale, maybe a little Hyatt. What about your buying? Who are you buying?
You want what parameter do you have like a round you want me to tell you I'm buying, or
do you have a position? Do you have a person?
Anywhere?
Do you have a team?
I mean, there's plenty of players. I'm someone who takes big fades and big buys on players. Like I think the market is wrong. I think it's wrong to assume that the market is this like. I mean, we used to get like really big pushback on like questioning the market, and yeah, the market generally is right, like as a trend line, but they're wrong all over the place, and I feel there's a lot of players mispriced. So. On the same team, I'm buying Isaiah Hodgins. If you look at Hodgins' box score from last year, which I recognize the floor of Isaiah Hodgins is that he's cut, right? And that's okay. But go back and look at his game logs to the end of the year. It was like touchdown in 6 straight games or something, bunch of targets, not to mention he was used in the playoffs. He's big. He's like the only big dude on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Slayton is like the speed guy on the outside. But I don't know. Like, I think I think it's real great for Hodgins that all they brought in was all these slot dudes. Like, you can't play 4 slot dudes on the outside.
I'll also know with Hodgins, some people have noted the amount of money that he's making this year, and it's like very small. But he was claimed off waivers from the Bills, and he's a day 3 pick, and I believe he's on like an exclusive rights free agent deal or something, but like he's essentially still on his rookie deal. So the amount of money that he's making is not indicative of what he was. It's not like he was an unrestricted free agent and they thought he was worth that. They have him on a cost-controlled deal, which is great for them, but I don't necessarily think reflects how much they value him. And so I'm a little bit less nervous that he gets cut than some other people. I think they were pretty pleased with what he offered them. You know, this is the same guys who drafted him. Joe Shane was with the Bills when they took Hodgins in the first place, and he was pretty good last year. So hardly like a high floor type of pick, but
potentially a wideout one going that late, right?
Yeah.
So when I've been thinking about the Giants, I mean, it seems like Darren Waller is getting drafted at, I don't want to say his ceiling, but just like with a lot of confidence. Is there any chance that like this confusion of wide receivers leads to fewer routes run by Darren Waller, or is this just like, hey, Darren Waller, lock him in, Daniel Jones going to be very solid rushing upside, and if we can hit on the right New York Giants wide receivers, like this could be a very valuable stack we look back on as like, oh, should have taken more chances.
I think Waller is going to be like a high ADOT guy. So he's going to, for best ball, and that's awesome. Like, he's going to have those big games, but maybe not as many like regular 15-point games every week, which is fine, you know? But I don't know. Like, I really like Waller's chance to explode strictly because he's on the Giants with Dable. They went out and got him. Like, could this be a poor version of their Stephon Diggs acquisition? You know, it's not like he's facing a bunch of he's facing like comparable vets, but not like studs. I don't know. How you guys been thinking about?
I'm going to put a pause real quick. Oh, catch up, Steen. Get out of here.
Jahan, do we have Jahan Dotson would be a division stack to go with Dallas?
Are we good with Dak to begin with?
I'm good with Dak. Yeah,
I'm fine.
Definitely good with Dak. I think we could go Jahan Dotson. I like that.
I like James Conner's chance to like have a good year.
Yeah, I like Connor and White as well, and White gives us a Tampa Bay thing.
So it really depends on how we view the running backs versus wide receivers in the next tier, which there's guys I like at both positions.
I would go Rashad White because of the Mike Evans. The way that we're building with Dak, I could see this possibly being a 3 QB. It's probably not going to be a 3 QB.
It's probably 2.
We don't have an elite tight end. I'm fine with either of these.
We're betting on Tampa. Let's go White.
I think so. I agree. That's a small tiebreaker. A little ADP aspect too there.
It's fine with me.
Okay. Let's talk structure then. When we're looking at this team, even before that pick, we didn't have a QB. We don't have a tight end. I presume we don't want to set ourselves up for a 3 QB, 3 tight end build. What is kind of the, just say rest of the draft strategy? What are you trying to target for what we have with our composition?
I think this could be 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. That's probably where I would lean right now. But in order to do that, we probably want to get another running back, in the kind of the juicy range, which be like, let's say before round 14 at a minimum, but maybe even a little earlier. And we probably need to prioritize a second quarterback who at least has some kind of weekly ceiling, which I guess, is probably Goff.
Yeah, Goff is the obvious choice for this team.
Goff is 118. We're pick 108. So we've got him 10 picks ahead. So it's unlikely someone reaches ahead of us for him. We've got the Gibbs, the Amon-Ra stacks. I think that makes a lot of sense. And we
obviously an 18th round Baker is fine, but we might want to just double tap 2 guys late then, or even Goff Baker. I think the 3 QB stuff is really when you feel strong enough about your roster and you're like, whatever, I'll take the extra game stack for the playoffs.
Yeah. If we had an elite tight end, I'd be more willing, but I'm pretty sure this is going to turn into a 3 tight end build, which I don't mind at all if I miss out on any elite ones. So I do want to invest one of these next early picks on a a QB, and it just fits so well, obviously, with the Amon Ra. We get our 2 elite wide receivers stacked.
Yeah, I like 2 quarterback if we can pull it off.
There's 2 tight ends that for our stack partners that are also going late if we wanted, both on the younger side. So we've got Ferguson down here at 206, and then we have Pat. Do you know who this guy is? Sam Love.
What is a Laporta?
I mean, are we even sure Ferguson's the one though? I'm still on the Schoonmaker train.
Yeah, I'm not really taking Dallas tight end. Are you? Do you have enough confidence?
I take some Schoonmaker.
Do you? I
heard Schumacher's more of a blocker, but
is he? I thought he was like a perfect.
I'm
10
team
Raz
Ferguson
guy.
if I'm gonna go there, but I haven't gone there.
I don't have much confidence. Yeah, but opportunities there. I'm fine with so many of the late tight ends this year. So
986 Raz, 463 40, 159 10-yard split, 6.81 3-cone, which is elite. That's Dalton Schultz.
He kind of got you here.
Did he? Did he get me? I think that might be a Chat GPT joke.
That's a win for you though, Pat, because like you have him tight end 5 or tight end 2, right? You got him as tight end 2 or 3?
I had him as he's my tight end 3 now. I've had him as my tight end 2/3 basically all
in pre-draft, right? And I didn't see that for many. Like most places had Mayer, which I mean it wasn't.
I had Mayer too. Mayer was my tight end 1. Yeah,
but yeah,
Kincaid was your 2.
The joke just goes back.
Kincaid eventually jumped him, but I was kind of.
I was just saying, Pat and I were drafting months ago, had not heard Sam Laporta's name referenced anywhere, and then Pat drafted him in round 20, and I think I put a tweet out. It was just like, what's a Laporta?
I have vague memories of that now.
It's worth noting that some of the early big board stuff, like people draft the rookies, but they don't like go. I think maybe people are just like too reliant on their own knowledge of having watched college football, but I don't watch a ton of college football. So I just like went and like literally went to like ESPN's like rankings of the prospects, and Laporta was like a highly ranked tight end. Like he just was expected to be drafted high, and he was not being drafted at all. He did not have an ADP when I first took him. Like that is an edge. That shouldn't be an edge. You just go look to see who's going to get drafted, and it's an edge. But I think it's, file that away for next January.
Yeah. He was not on many of the draft boards, and that's where I kind of start my research, is looking at like kind of the mock draft central database to see.
Can you click on the tight end and running back tab?
Yes. Yeah. I would have liked to have grabbed Njoku, but he went a couple picks before. That would have been nice for Cooper.
So I think Goff for sure, and then I think it's between like Kincaid, Brian Robinson for the division stack, or P. Ryan.
I like Brian Robinson a lot. I think he's. I like
Brian Robinson. Yeah. And he gives us what we're looking for, because we've got this Gibbs pick, which is like late season coming on, like super explosive. He's kind of taking over the backfield a bit. But how do we get there? We need to get there in the first place. So Brian Robinson's going to be chugging along.
I'm just hoping that Eric Bieniemy is like, this is not us. Like, we're not going to be 20 carry Brian Robinson, grind it out, 3.3 yards. Right? Like, that can't be Eric Bieniemy, right? Like, isn't he going to be more like, we got to get Gibson in the mix, and we got to use Curtis Samuel.
We want Sam Howell to be throwing the ball a bunch.
I just don't see the same like Brian Robinson from last year. I've been taking him some because clearly like it's him or Gibson probably. But what are your thoughts on like me trying to get in the mind of the coach there?
Well, I would just keep in mind that now that DeAndre Swift is in Philadelphia, Gibson might be the least liked running back on his own team. Like they clearly do not want to feed Gibson. And I like Gibson as a contingent bet, but the thing with Brian Robinson is that I didn't think he was a very good prospect, and I didn't think he looked good last year, and he didn't really pop in anything. But he was shot in the leg last summer. Yeah. And, coming back your second year from that kind of injury is, I think, potentially we could see like a different player. I don't know what kind of odds to put on that, but like you're getting him at a price that I think is like a little bit of a value for just like what we expect his role to be out of the gate. And then there's like a little bit of upside year two healthy. So
for sure. But like, do you think Bieniemy is going to be like, isn't the offense going to look totally different?
Why don't they? Yeah, but maybe they throw to Brian Robinson a little bit. He's not Gibson. He's not the former receiver, but if he's out there, maybe he's catching some dump offs and everything.
Yeah, and I think your point around the Gibson and kind of the team's just overall feeling towards him is something that we rarely ever take properly into account, like as fantasy football people, because so much we're looking at what we see in the game, we're looking at the numbers, and then you have things like, oh, Jamal Williams, coaches just absolutely love him, and DeAndre Swift, for whatever reason, the exact opposite. And so with Robinson coming back so quickly from being shot as well, that just feels like it's one of those coaches love him. He must have just gained their favor. They were willing to trust him early on. No reason that would change this year. And now you've got, well, we don't love Gibson and we really like Robinson.
Isn't Gibson a winner in the draft? Like they took a 6th round rookie.
He is a winner.
That's not them taking Charbonnet.
I'm
right?
still drafting Gibson. This isn't like a
I draft both as well, but like I just think we hate Gibson stuff could be out the window with Bieniemy. Like maybe he's like, I know how to use this guy.
Right. And I think Pat was saying, like, I push an ETR on this. Like, I think both of them are suitable draft picks, and neither of them are going in the top 100. Like Robinson as a likely starter of a team that likes to run at pick 108. I love that.
Yeah. And Robinson's the kind of guy where, like, if I think he's a good pick, he's probably a really good pick because
I get it.
I'm not that into him, you know?
Yeah. All right, we are back on the board. Tight ends are the top. It is a position of need.
I would be okay with Schultz and Nico and just say we probably got the one in Houston.
Same page.
Okay.
And I like doing stuff like this where you build, like, we don't have to go get Stroud. You know, we've got quarterbacks settled. We could. If he falls to us at a value, maybe. But we've got Dak, we got Goff, we got him stacked.
Would you go Nico ahead of Gallup?
I think Nico has more like huge seasons in his book than Gallup, but Gallup's more like a playoff
on a 1-to-1. I like Nico more, but we do have Dak,
but we only have 4 wide receivers.
But we can take like the Jacksonville running back. Like, we can build in.
What are we thinking?
I'm okay. I'm okay with either.
I like Nico because we only have 4 wide receivers, and we to me, it's like we're not deep at wide receiver, really. At least not the way I think about wide receiver. So I'm like, let's get a guy I feel really good about. And I love Nico Collins.
I will say, while we're not deep, we do have our first pick, our second pick, and our third pick are wide receivers. So we definitely have that top range. I'm just communicating. I don't think this is a team where it's like, hey, we want to still also go deep and have 9 wide receivers. I think you could possibly even end this as a 7. I think
you could end this as a 7. Yeah.
Right. Either 1 more or like 2 more really quick or 3 more later. But I do want to make known that, like, Leone talked about it in the manifesto. Draft capital is very important. He used running back as a lot of the example for people to understand around like drafting early, but wide receiver is just as important. With us devoting our top 3 or 3 of our top 4 picks to the wide receiver position, we don't want to then also end up with 9 or heavy degrees of wide receivers with maybe going 3 more in a row here or something.
Yeah, this is a 7 probably to me.
Yeah, I would probably build this as an 8 personally, but I think we're talking about.
Can I see the draft board? I have a hard time counting without like the visual. What round was that? 12. So we got 6 more picks, right?
We have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 more.
So yeah, 2 more going to tight end to me.
Yep.
And then
2 more to tight end.
2 more to wide out. That brings you to 7. And then
yeah.
I would say that third spot is playable. Like you could take a Stroud past cost. You could take a running back. How many running backs do we have? 4?
My lean would be running back.
We're locking in 2, 5, 7, 3. And then that last spot could be anything other than tight end.
Yeah.
Could be running back. I go tight end even sometimes when
4 tight ends.
When my tight ends aren't this strong. I had some success with 4 tight end last year, but I was taking like who's the guy on the Jets?
Conklin.
I was taking Conklin a lot, which other people weren't. And like the year before, 4 tight end smash, but you know why? Because Dawson Knox and Gronk and Dalton Schultz were the guys showing up on those builds.
So like 2 years ago, 3 tight ends finished top 6. We just referenced them. Last year, 3 late tight ends. Last year, 2 late tight ends again finished top 6, which was Taysom and Evan Ingram. There is a pattern of these late tight ends usually attached to strong offenses far surpassing their ADP value. When you hit 4, you have an extra chance of hitting one. I don't want to use a 4th tight end on someone just to maybe, get me an extra touchdown or something, if that makes sense.
No, it's not something I do a lot on Underdog.
Bit of a running back drop off after Mostert and Warren, I would say. Wide receivers here.
I like Warren a lot. I would like to grab Warren.
I like Warren a lot too.
Okay.
And I think he's a mini correlation with the Mari Cooper pick. And then what's the tight end?
We have Dalton Schultz and Higbee, Dawson Knox, Irv
But
Smith.
what is Laporta's ADP? Because is he going to make it back to us?
175. He should fall to us.
What's our next round of picks?
157. It's going to be like 178, 180.
Probably won't make it back to us, so we have to decide like how bad do we want him.
Yeah, that's a bit of a reach in my book.
I just think the wide receivers are
We need
ranked
the
so
tight end
terribly.
and it's stacked, so
The wide
I'm fine with
receivers
it.
are ranked so terribly in this market that I really don't care, like passing up on Hunter Renfrow versus like Isaiah Hodgins. Is how I look at it right now.
Yeah, no,
if the market was efficient, I would agree with you.
I agree in the wide receivers. I think the only other argument would be if you wanted to try to go with the Tyler Higbee, Dawson Knox, or Smith, and you felt good about those and wanted the Laporta on the next. But I'm good with getting the stack, young, wide range of outcomes with Sam Laporta.
And the thing about Laporta is like he sucks at blocking, so his early season production could be pretty bad. But as he gets on the field more, he's going to be productive as a receiver. He was really good after the catch. He's going to have a low ADOT, which I think will go well with Jared Goff. And having a tight end coming on down the stretch could be pretty huge for a team like this.
Thinking of late stack partners, excited about any of these Dallas, or there's the Detroit wide receivers. You've got
I draft
Jones,
Schoonmaker, but I'm alone, and part of the reason I drafted him because no one else is. I mean, he's the guy who, in the second round who's like, we draft Laporta, we draft Dalton Kincaid, we draft Meyer, we don't draft the next tight end off the board who went to Green Bay, but then we don't draft the next tight end who's vacating Dalton Schultz, who we know Dak loves to target the tight end. I'm just hoping it's the second round rookie with a 9.9 RAS.
Yeah.
I don't know. My feeling is you can get Trey McBride, who's going to be the starting tight end. Zach Ertz coming off a torn ACL. He's also like completely washed. You can get Jelani Woods. I
think you're with an Ertz believer here. I saw Justin draft an Ertz share.
I'm definitely an Ertz believer.
Wow.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, team.
I mean, if you look at how he started and the role that he had in that offense last year, he was on pace to be, I think it was like a top 4, top 5 tight end. Yes, he got hurt. Yes, it's a gruesome injury. Yes, I think he's 31 years old, which is like, 2 years younger than Kelsey?
No, he turns 33 in November.
33. Okay, so it's his age 33 season. Definitely, that's getting up there, no question. But for me, I'm drafting for what is that? If I'm in the 18th round, definitely doing more in the 20th round. But in the 18th round, who was a player that we know can actually earn that target volume? And we saw it just last year. He was earning 7-8 targets per game. And then when McBride was in that offense, they were not using him the same way. And so that's where my thought is like, yes, McBride's the young one. He's healthy. He's going to be there. But it wouldn't shock me if when Ertz is playing, Kyler's back, yes, you're foregoing the first maybe month of the season, he could still be like that primary pass catcher in the offense.
Well, I mean, it honestly makes me a little bit less interested in McBride because Ertz coming back from the torn ACL and MCL is going to be, not doing a ton early in the season, but that's a late season play there anyway, because you need Kyler to come back. So if you have McBride and you get some early season weeks and then his production dips because Ertz is back, that's pretty rough. But I have a hard time. I don't know. It's an age bias maybe, but also like the massive injury. And it was more than just an ACL. It was also the MCL. So
plus the offense probably sucks.
Yeah. Plus the offense probably sucks.
So I don't is Laporta going to make it back to us at 180 sometimes, but his ADP is rising. So we've just seen these risers. They rarely, I see people take Anthony Richardson sometimes and pick 40 now. Like they're just like that. Like
40?
pick 40. They're just like, I need to get him.
Oh
and
my
and like
God.
and like some rooms he goes and like pick like sometimes some rooms he goes and picks 100. But like the amount
I was
of,
called
like,
a coward for having him ranked at 82. And I think
the
I've
amount
actually
of
moved
pick
him up
60s
slightly.
I've seen versus pick 100s is like way weighted to the 60 side.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because theoretically the Richardson pick is a sharp pick because you're drafting off of, I don't know, things we haven't seen before. There's a lot of uncertainty, things that usually get the casuals off of it. But then if someone who's drafting 5 rounds above ADP is also not a sharp, so it's weird to see that kind of clash between like.
But
It
if
he
we
was
think
a-
about,
he
like,
was a
Justin
sharp pick.
Fields,
Right.
well, but that's the thing is like Justin Fields, you couldn't overdraft him last year. Even if you did that, like now he's not quite getting as expensive, so it's becoming hard. But like you could have taken Fields 4 picks ahead of ADP or 4 rounds, and you're getting like a near guy who's giving you these like 30, 40 point weeks. Like that's
What
doesn't
should
matter
you
that
bet?
you reach.
Knowing the results, late 4th, because he still wasn't great at the beginning of the year, but then he obviously turned it on like crazy.
And they
Oh,
suck
we're
at the
back.
end,
We're
too.
back.
The only player that I really like here is Chuba Hubbard.
I like Reed and Samuel at wideout. I don't think we're going another running back, right? Aren't we going 2 wideouts and a tight end?
Is that?
I don't think
yeah,
we
that would take
need
us
another
to-
running back.
Yeah.
I like Curtis Samuel. We have Brian Robinson. I guess we didn't get Dotson. Why
Jaden
don't we
Reed
do-
is a stack for the Goff division, giving you 2 game stacks there. Why do you laugh at that? That's like a reasonable thing
these
to do.
these
You're,
theoretical stacks. No, I hear you.
but
I
you're
hear you.
raising your floor in a season wide sense too.
I don't mind Mecole Hardman. Just ambiguity in the offense, playmaker.
I'm
better
okay with it. All the signings
I would
really
much
make me
rather
nervous,
go Reed. I'm like 1,000,000% Reed over.
Yeah,
Hardman.
let's do Reed.
Makes
Let's
way
get
more
some
sense
late
for our
season
team.
upside with the rookie.
He's a
Gerald
rookie.
Everett?
He stacks
We
in
need
the
another tight end?
division.
I'd be okay with Everett too if you want.
I'm fine with Everett, but I also like tight ends in the other rounds. Justin, noted rookie hater.
Okay. I tried to get Jaden Reed back up there. Honestly, that was probably more of an ADP thing. But
the Reed play. Like I think with this kind of wide receiver room, it's you talked about how much capital we'd spent at wide receiver in this draft, and we have spent a lot of capital. But like getting a rookie who's going to be not doing a ton early in the season, well, you're fine. You have all these like high-priced wide receivers. You're going to be getting production from them early in the season if this team's doing well, and then just mining a spike week late in the season in the fantasy playoffs ideally would be absolutely massive. So
if we recognize week 17 game stacks is to reach 90 to 95% percentile outcomes more often, but rarely 100 percentile outcomes, which is like 95% is good enough to win a tournament, 90% is good enough to win a tournament in terms of points. Isn't a division stack giving you those game stacks 2 times a week? Plus, if you stack, like you're getting those 90 percentile outcomes, hopefully multiple times over the course of 17 weeks. So you're both playing for the playoffs. You're playing for the regular season / advancing.
My pushback there is
go ahead.
Majority of those games are during the regular season where you only need to finish top 2 out of 12 in your league.
Unless you're winning 500K.
Yeah, let's win that 500K, man.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the prize pool. Like you can't just ignore and be like, no, I'm not playing for that. And I don't think there's a lot you mindfully do to play for that money. Because I don't think there's a lot you like. There are some things to do and some things definitely not to do if you're trying to win the regular season prize. But I think division stacking is part of playing for the regular season prize to me.
Yep, completely fair.
With an out towards the playoffs, which I care more about.
Yeah. Once the schedule comes out, I think then I'm just going to have probably more confidence. So maybe it's my just lack of, lack of being a visionary or seeing that vision of like the schedule without actually clearly knowing it. Because of course, yes, the divisionals are going to play twice. I would just love to know when that is. And yes, it is possible those end up playing twice. Maybe not twice in the playoffs in that 3-week span. But we have seen a couple times. I don't know if it was division or not. Maybe it was Carolina, Atlanta played twice during the playoffs last year or something.
There was stuff
Washington
like that.
Washington and Philly played each other 2 times in weeks 15 and 17.
Okay.
But I mean, you're also
division.
right. There's reasons to have concern about Reed. Like he could be the 3. behind Dubs.
I think he is the 3. He's got to work up from the 3. Yeah,
I think
he's
Dubs
definitely a 3 to start
sucks.
off.
I'm sorry. I think he was awful. What was promising about him?
There's an argument that it was just the rapport he built with Rodgers, and with that gone, like maybe he doesn't have that leg up that we saw. I still think he was decent.
It does feel slightly Tajay Sharpish to me.
I could be so wrong. Like, I don't pretend to be a scout, but I did not like what we saw from him.
I think that's sharp because it's like day 3 guy got on all of our radar, didn't completely bust, but then Christian Watson clearly emerged as the top guy. Then they spent a second round pick on a rookie wide receiver
and a tight end.
He's the number 3
and another tight end.
2 tight ends. Yeah.
And that team's probably going to want to run a lot this year. Like, they still brought back Aaron Jones, still have A.J. Dillon. You're not calling Love a rookie quarterback, but like a first-year quarterback as a starter. Not expect that to be a pass-heavy team. That's probably going to be a win by defense or lose.
I have no idea with Green Bay. Like, I'm a little excited to see it. Like it's probably very bad, like you said, but there's a little bit of out to upside. I remember that Jordan Love throw to Christian Watson. Christian Watson just like taking 80-yard slant to the house. I'm like, can he keep doing that? I don't know.
All right, we're up in 2 picks. I don't think that we want to go quarterback here. If you all want to convince me otherwise, go for it. There is the Sam Howell and the Baker aspect. Otherwise, running back, wide receiver, what are we thinking?
I definitely think we need a wideout. I saw Darius Slayton there. I like him as a potential out to. Like, I like Slayton a lot more than Robert Woods.
Yeah.
How strong are our running backs? We
could do another running back if we want.
I think another running back is what
I'm grabbing Darius Slayton. We know we need a
wide receiver. Deuce Vaughn. Let's get Deuce Vaughn as a little correlation play.
I like Vaughn. That's a great pick.
Okay. I like it. If we didn't have the correlation from what we were talking about, I was also considering a Michael Carter because with the Gibbs showing up a little more later on, Jalen Warren showing up a little more later on, Carter kind of gives us that early weeks. But yeah.
I'd rather take a shot at like a 2 running back room. Because like Michael Carter to me is in a
Dallas is not a 2 running back room.
Well, no, it's not. Man. But Dallas, Deuce Vaughn is for the stack. I'm saying Michael Carter, like Keontae Ingram to me right now is a 2 running back room. Like, is there a chance the Cardinals add someone?
Corey Clement? Corey had more touches. He had the majority of the touches in week 16, 17 last year? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be Clement. That might be a fake handcuff. I've struggled with where to rank Keontae Ingram as well.
I haven't been touching
the point is there's lots of guys Keontae Ingram who one of them's probably going to hit and not get Corey Clemented or something.
Right.
I mean, that's why we liked Chuba. That's why we like Jalen Warren.
I like Chuba a lot because I really – and Warren because I feel pretty strong that those are – like especially Warren, not only is he kind of the clear handcuff, but like the coaches like him.
He was good.
He earned a spot. Same coaching staff. Like the status quo is great for Warren. Najee stinks. Like I think he might be the best running back they have. So
I think there's a chance that Najee was hurt all last year, and that's why his performance was so bad.
We're doing the Zeke. We're doing the Zeke with Najee now. It's just hurt.
No, I'm not on Najee.
Najee is totally.
I think there's a small chance of that being a possibility.
No doubt.
But Jalen looked better last year. I agree with you. He's earned the trust of the team, and like I could very see him winning that job. And what is this year? This is basically the year before they have to make a decision on picking up his 5th year option.
Yeah, that's probably right because
they also invested in the O-line
after the year.
And they draft like George Pickens is a good blocker, and so is their new tight end. Like they have a really their pass core can block, like lay dudes out.
All aboard Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren's like a poor man Eckler, right? Like he kind of reminds you a little bit like
I like 80%, that.
Like 85% Eckler is how I view it.
There you go.
Okay, 85% Eckler. Clip it. This is fun. All right, the final segment of the boardroom. We need our valuation. Pat, Liam, give us a valuation. How did this team do? How did we do? Is this team winning us $3.5 million?
Well, I will say that it's noticeable this was your first draft. I thought your driving abilities was a solid B. of the draft. You could have shown me the board a little bit more, but
Wow.
for what we were dealing with,
The
A
board
plus
is not holding
execution.
back right now.
For what we were dealing with, A plus execution from the three of us is what I thought.
Liam's trying to take down #1 streamer in St. Petersburg, Florida.
For those who don't know, Justin and I both 727 loyalists.
I
Matt, what
like
about
the
you?
draft.
What do you think?
I like doing Jahmyr Gibbs like this. I think, I said when we were taking him, we should treat it like a 0 running back build. Jahmyr Gibbs is not probably going to get a ton of work to start the season. He's 199 pounds. Dave Montgomery can do everything. He could be like extremely disappointing, but I love the idea of that playing out that way, and you get him through, and then he has a couple awesome weeks in the playoffs, which I think is like probably his most likely scenario, is that he's like a low advance rate kind of, but maybe you need him in the playoffs type of guy. I love that we got him with correlation, with Goff, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Laporta, who kind of profiles as a similar late season type of dude. Hopefully Gibbs and Laporta are powering spike weeks with Goff here, and that's how we win the $3 million.
I definitely agree that like Gibbs is a guy who I'm not like going 4 RB with. Like he's someone I'm not counting on to like grind me out weeks. On the other hand, there's outs to him crushing in the beginning of the season without Jameson Williams, right? Like I think Williams is going to take target share. He's going to demand targets, and I mean you got 6 weeks without him, so maybe you can cement yourself.
Gentlemen, this was fantastic. I appreciate you all coming on, and this was a fun draft. So, chat, you were also amazing. Apologies for not engaging more with you. I'm getting more of your names up on the screen. It was difficult. This is my first one of the year. This is the first boardroom. As you know, every boardroom, we get
God
better.
God sends his toughest soldiers for his hardest battles, guys. Clap it up for Justin and all the work.
Just keep running the damn ball. I'll be back here every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Liam, what about you? Where can people find you? What do you got going on this summer?
Well, first of all, I think people should smash the subscribe button, hit the like button. Come on, guys. Let's get a like train. Let's get a subscribe train. Support Justin and the ETR team over here. They do great work. For me, you can catch daily best ball drafts for the month of May. Liam Murphy on YouTube, at Chess Liam on Twitter.
Pat, what about you? Let's hear about the legendary upside. I know you have been in the labs, grinding, putting out some amazing content. What do you got?
Yeah, legendaryupside.com. I've got best ball rankings up for Underdog. You can upload them to Underdog. If you're watching this, I imagine you are playing on Underdog, and therefore you might be interested in a $50 Underdog credit, which you can get by going to legendaryupside.com/early. That'll get you $30 off your first year at Legendary Upside, and it'll also make you eligible to get a $50 Underdog credit. All you have to do is then fill out a form so that I have your username so that I can send it to Underdog so that they can give you $50. So, yeah, go ahead and sign up. I've got working on some best ball articles right now about elite tight end, elite quarterback, some really good rookie stuff up there as well if you're trying to crush your rookie drafts.
Awesome. I put both their Twitters in the chat. Chess Liam, Pat Kerrane. Give them a follow. Take a look at all their content. It's going to be a blast of a summer. Gentlemen, go to your Venmos and do not send me anything, but I'll be sending you $1 million in just 9 months' time.
All right.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having us
Later.
on.